about to leave. Already packing, come with me. I'm not.
Hello friends and enemies, welcome back to Happy For Now. This is going to be a quick video, but I wanted to do a 6-month update on my Kindle Oasis. I have thoughts. So my first review video, I get a lot of comments on that video. It still gets a lot of watches. I'm not surprised. I know it's a hard choice. I watched a ton of these videos before I bought my device. Am I happy 6 months later that I bought it? Yes and no. I have not managed to fully retire my Kindle Paperwhite, so don't love that. Also not thrilled about the new Paperwhite that just launched with the wireless charger and Warmlight, because that's one of the features I really like about my Oasis. Let's talk about it. Like, I got such mixed response when I talked about the battery life on this Oasis. So some people suggested that because I bought it from the baggage claim site where they sell like things that were lost in luggage or left on planes, that maybe it sat in storage too long. But honestly, the battery life is very reflective of many of my friends who have Oasis's battery experience, to the point at which I did a test. And we'll talk about the test results in a minute, but I did test the battery life to share. But I got a lot of comments, you know, I have no issues with my Oasis, and people who also had issues with theirs, and a lot of people who opted for the Paperwhite over the Oasis because of some of the issues I was having. So where am I 6 months in? My favorite feature is that auto rotate of the screen, because when I roll over in bed and I want to read in a different direction, or I want to switch hands, whatever, it just automatically flips. And it is my favorite thing next to buttons. Those two things for me are what make this device the best thing for me as a reader, as the kind of reader I am. So I do love that. I still think the device itself is very clunky and weird feeling with the way the bump is shaped. I have very small hands, and I find that the bump is like not conducive to ergonomically holding it. I haven't tested a pop socket on it. I am debating that as an option to perhaps help me hold it better. I still find it hurts my hand less than my Paperwhite was there for a while, because I feel like the Paperwhite, you kind of do this weird pinch grip with it sometimes if you don't use the pop socket. And I do use a pop socket, but I still would find like my thumbs and parts of my fingers to not feel great about it. I also really love the Warmlight feature. I usually keep it about just up a little bit, not like very high, but I have found that that is really beneficial for me, especially as someone who has migraines very often. The Warmlight feature definitely is a big perk for me, and I do utilize it a lot. I also really like it at night, and I like the dark mode on the Paperwhite as well. I think that honestly, those items for me make the device worth it, but I'm still really hoping we get a new form factor of the Oasis in the next year, and I don't know if we are or not, but fingers crossed that we can get another version of it. Now let's talk about the battery test. So I feel like this is probably the part people are most interested in. I will note with my Paperwhite, I rarely charge that thing. That is why I say that device, if you don't want to have to think about charging your device, is the device for you. I leave it on Wi-Fi, it just sits there, and it's always ready to go for me 99% of the time. And I have since traveled with my Oasis and done other activities, so I feel like my battery experience is not out of the norm for owners of this device. I do think, like I said, it skews a lot. There are people who have no issue with the battery life, and there are people like me who have constant issues with the battery life. I am a heavy user of this device. I read every single day for hours a day usually, so it is not uncommon for me to burn through the battery within a few days. This is my chart of the battery test results. So real quick, we have a dark mode with Wi-Fi on, was 9 hours and 36 minutes, and I did drain that completely to 0% on this one, so I feel like that's pretty good. I did get comments that dark mode was killing my battery, and it is obviously not killing my battery. Then I didn't do a full brightness test because that kept triggering migraines for me. I can't do the Kindle all the way up, I'm sorry. But then I did do medium brightness, no Wi-Fi, and I got 11 hours of battery life. And I will say that's not too bad. That's a week of reading for me, let's say, give or take. So that one did pretty well for me. And then medium with Wi-Fi on, I got 8 hours and 45 minutes, which I did only read until the Kindle was at 3%. I was in a book that I was very gripped by, and I did not want it to die on me before I could sync it to my Paperwhite and switch devices. So I don't think the battery life is as good as for mine, is as good as some people have on theirs. I've gotten comments about people having literally no issue of reading for, you know, large amounts of time without the battery dying. But I also had issues where the Kindle wouldn't stay on while I was reading. It would keep rebooting itself and recycling. This was all before the most recent update, and then one of these issues happened after the recent update, so I don't think it has anything to do with the update. I also had a moment where the Kindle just froze completely. I don't think my Paperwhite has ever frozen on me like this, where literally I couldn't turn the page, I couldn't turn it off. I had to do the hard reset on it just to get the screen back to normal. And like, that's not okay. You shouldn't spend $200+ on a device and have it just freeze all the time. And I do not have a ton of things on my Oasis. It is not that full. Yeah, so it shouldn't freeze like that, I feel like, and I don't feel like it should be something that gives you some of these issues that I'm having. So on the battery life, my biggest thing here is that, like, for me, having a Kindle is the ability to quickly download books that I get sent, whether those are advanced reader copies, books I buy, Kindle Unlimited books, books from my library, to my device, and have them available to me at any time. And I definitely, you know, obviously get better battery life without the Wi-Fi on, but that negates a large portion of what I like about the Kindle. I also will say I flew with this, and twice on my trip, once on my trip and after my trip, I opened the Kindle and it just had a dead battery. It just said no battery, please charge. I don't know if it was the altitude of the plane, because this was right after my trip, and then I charged it and then it did it to me again. And I don't leave the device, like I don't leave this on. If I'm not using it, it's asleep. Like, I'm not leaving the device just like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't just leave it sitting open. I don't do any of that. So I don't know the cause there. Obviously, I'm not a tech reviewer. I am just a reader who likes technology and wanted to try the Oasis. In the middle of my testing, / towards the end of my testing period with the battery life, we did get that new Kindle update, and I am torn on how I feel about that new OS layout for this device, and on the Paperwhite it's the same. I think it's okay, but I don't think it actually is saving me any battery life. I know there's some questions of if the new OS perhaps fixes a little bit of the battery life issue. I think it's slightly improved since the new OS, but I was literally like on the last day of testing when that dropped. So I stand by my recommendation in the previous video that if you don't need the buttons and you don't need the slightly bigger screen to stick with the Paperwhite, I don't think it's a bad choice. I think it is a solid e-reader, and to wait for a new form factor of the Oasis that hopefully has a more consistent battery life. Now, my biggest question here is, do y'all want me to get the signature Paperwhite with the Warmlight to compare to this? Because I will. I'm very tempted by it. It is on my potential Christmas list items. So let me know if you think I should get that and test it and compare to this. But I think for now, I would still say to wait out for the next form factor of the Oasis, especially if you plan to travel a lot and want the device to just be ready to go at all times. This is not going to be it. When I travel, I take both. I no longer just take one device with me. If I'm staying local, obviously I only take my Oasis with me, but if I am going to be flying somewhere or taking a vacation, I will be bringing both devices, because I can't guarantee that this one will work on the plane or in the moment when I need it, because I never know, even if I'm fully charged, if that battery is just gonna randomly die on me. And that's why I struggle so hard to recommend this device, and I hate it, because the things I really love about it. But the problems, not great. Not great, y'all. Not great. So let me know if you want me to get that Paperwhite Signature Edition and give it a test. I'm happy to probably pick that up in the new year / around Christmas time and see if I like it and how it compares. Or let me know if you're picking up that, or you know, which one you think you're gonna pick up. I definitely, you know, am a digital reader though at the end of the day. So like, these devices for me just are what I need. And unfortunately, like, I don't see myself switching to Kobo anytime soon, because I've already invested so much into the Kindle ecosystem. I know this is like a sunk cost fallacy, but I do have a lot of books to read on my Kindle, so, you know, maybe one day, maybe I will get a Kobo and switch. All right, y'all, thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far, let me know what e-reader you use, and if you don't want to do that, you can leave me a star emoji. And I will see y'all in just a few days. Bye.
About to leave, already packing. Come with me, I'm not really asking. We'll get away to a place where we don't know.